Good early afternoon. 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, November 10th, 2022. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. At times, I find it more than relevant to talk about what's going on in the bullion markets, to talk about gold, to talk about silver. So consider this your gold-silver report. And we're going to touch a few things. One, we've had a nice move up in gold and silver here in the past 7 days. We've also had central banks buying gold at the fastest pace in 55 years. Why? There's a lot going on in today's culture, in today's global financial structure and setup that doesn't even meet the eye. While they tell you that gold and silver is meaningless now in the national narrative, and how crypto or Bitcoin is the new gold, digital gold, they fail to tell you behind closed doors that big banks, the central banks, which secretly they also fail to tell you central banks run the world, not your two-party system in the USA or anything else you have around the rest of the world. It's actually the central banks that control what's actually going on. So just take that for what it's worth. So my question is when are you going to start buying your gold and silver? Have you started buying it? Have you been paying attention to me for the last 19 months? Have you followed any of my steps? We'll go over the charts. We'll go over what's going on in the gold and silver, how much it is per ounce. We'll go over some of the mining stocks that I talk about. But we also have to start talking about petroleo as well. It's an oil mining stock, or an oil stock. It's government run in Brazil. Their books are phenomenal. Right now it's at a 48% dividend, but they actually paid out a 2.55 per share last dividend payment, which is a 25.5% dividend. And it's one of the ones that it's only using 43% of its operating margin right now, and it has something like 42.6 billion in revenue. Gross revenue, I should say. Much more in actual revenue. So we're going to see if we can get on the same page together when it comes to commodities. Commodities are very important in this time. Right now, my B2 gold I bought at $2.90 with all of you last Thursday is up to $3.50 plus today. You're talking over 20% in a week. Well, we've had all this volatility in the crypto market, because although crypto's come back some today, it's still down by more than half of where it was at 2 days ago. So put that in perspective. And as that's been going on, gold and silver's been moving up. It even moved opposed to the dollar. The dollar was going up, crypto was going down, but finally gold and silver was going up, which meant commodity stocks went up as well. We had one down day, I think it was Tuesday, and then it bought it all back and then some yesterday and today. So make sure to hit that like button. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see more about more gold and silver reports, and see more about how to buy your precious metals. I'll show you my precious metals as well as we go along in these updates. And I really do appreciate everybody who's tuning in for these gold and silver reports. The central banks are buying gold at the fastest pace in 55 years. Gold demand has soared back to pre-pandemic levels. WGS central banks bought a record 399 tons of gold worth around 20 billion in the third quarter of 2022. WGC says among the largest buyers were the central banks of Turkey, Uzbekistan, Qatar, and India. Central banks globally accumulating gold reserves at a furious pace, last seen 55 years ago when the US dollar was still backed by gold. Retail demand by jewelers and buyers of gold bars and coins was also strong. The WGC said in its latest quarterly report, WGC says that the world's gold demand amounted to 1,181 tons in the September quarter, good for 28% year-over-year growth. WGC says among the largest buyers were the central banks of Turkey, Uzbekistan, Qatar, and India. Though other central banks also bought a substantial amount of gold, but did not publicly report their purchases. The Central Bank of Turkey remains the largest reported gold buyer this year, adding 31 tonnes in Q3 to bring its total gold reserve to 489 tonnes. The Central Bank of Uzbekistan bought another 26 tonnes. The Qatar Central Bank bought 15 tonnes. The Reserve Bank of India added 17 tonnes during the Qatar, pushing its gold reserve to 785 tonnes. Retail buyers of gold bars and coins also surged in Turkey to 46.8 tonnes in the quarter, up more than 300% year on year. These developments are hardly surprising, taking into account gold is still considered the preeminent safe asset in times of uncertainty or turmoil. Despite the emergence of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, gold is also regarded as an effective inflation hedge, though experts say that this only rings true only over extended timelines measured in decades or even centuries. They always try to put a negative spin on it. I believe the biggest reason for this is they're going to try to find a way to pay for petrol outside of the US dollar. And I believe the gold standard is going to come back in a way that's not exactly how it was once before, because I think other countries are trying to find a way to get off the US dollar as the world reserve currency. And when that happens, it's going to be a big mess. So, rising interest rates spoiled the party for gold bulls, with exchange-traded funds, ETFs, storing bullion for investors becoming net sellers. Indeed, offloading of bullion by ETFs and counted buying by central banks, pushing gold prices down 8% in the third quarter. Gold is a not blah, blah, blah. We don't need to read all that. I just wanted you to hear what the central banks were doing. I can explain all the rest about gold. I don't need to hear their perspective of it. But that's what's going on with the central banks. So now when we go across here and we start to look at what's going on in the bullion market, or the gold market, gold and silver with the commodities as well, we have the US dollar down to 108.492, which is down 1.77%, or $1.95 on the day. That's a big swing in the US dollar for one day. And you can see we're coming down past key levels. That's why yesterday I would have felt more comfortable if the US dollar would have come into this area instead of just coming back up here. That just didn't seem right. So now, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it could come all the way back down to 106 now if it continues down this track. We'd have to reverse pretty quickly here now. So with that being said, that means gold, silver is going to benefit highly from this. Although gold and silver was already reverting and inverting away from the US dollar, because as it was going up, gold and silver kept going up towards the end of the run, the last part of the rally in the DXY, the last 7 days. Even when the DXY had a rally, gold and silver was going up, even crypto was going down, and all risk assets were going down. So it started to invert itself away. So we've got going on right now, we'll start with crude oil, which is up 1.29%. But crude oil, in my opinion, is not done running down. I think crude oil is almost done, but I still think it's got one more leg down before the winter. It probably will come down to like that 81 or 82 mark. It just doesn't seem like it's fully done dropping here yet. That's just, I could be wrong, but it looks like it's going to come in about 3-4% farther down and try to put some kind of reversal bottom in, if I had to guess, especially with the winter months coming in the US. PBR is my next purchase. I've already bought B2 Gold, as you know, at $2.90, but now I have $1,000 for PBR as well. I put $1,100 on B2 Gold, and it's up about $300 right now already. And then with PBR, I'm looking for, the goal was $8.91. Can it get to $8.91? I think it can if crude oil dumps to about 81 bucks, 80 or 81. And I think crude oil is on a nice little measured move down here. So I think crude oil can give me what I need here. I do. But we're about to find out here. But crude oil is in a very slippery slope here right now. And I have not even redone anything with this in so long. Just curious. We could just come through like... kind of like... I know we're recycling what's on here, but this is kind of like what crude oil looks like right here. That might give you a better perspective of what's going on here. So we're looking for crude oil to break this and then likely come back down. I think it could come down to the 81. It could even come down to the 78 level. So yeah, I think PBR is going to have a chance to come down at least 15-20% more. I could be wrong, but there's a reason why they pulled their dividend rate so high, because they don't want people to sell. But I'm waiting for it to get back. I sold mine when it was at 16. Not this time around, but a while ago in the first quarter of this year. And I've been waiting ever since I sold to get it back. And I was hoping to get it around $8.62, I believe I have on there. But I'm going to keep bothering everybody. $8.91 about Petrolio. Petrolio is one of the best kept secrets, I believe, around. But I still believe that we're going to come down. We still have to, and I've been talking about this for a while. $8.91, so pay attention, everybody. And their dividend, just to prove it, they paid a 2.558 dividend, which is a 25.58% per share. Which means if you had 1,000 shares, you would have got $255 worth of shares in dividend payments, which is crazy. I don't know if they capped how many shares that they'll pay you on, but that's an insane amount. So the gold is at $17.50, or up $43.25, having a spectacular day today, up 2.54%. And it looks like it's off to the races now. Off to the races here. We got a nice W formation here. Looks like we're probably going to come up here into the $1,800 range. First, we got to come to this cup and handle at $17.64. We've already done this one. We'll probably come up just a little bit higher to make either try to put a bullish cup in. Maybe have a little bit of a retracement down to pull these levels in. But as far as the current pattern goes, we're looking pretty good. Right now, we're looking pretty good. We're trying to reverse here. The big main thing to do in the daily would be to get past the 200 day. But first, we're going to have a cross here. So it's going to take a minute. But this is working its way up very beautifully right now. And gold could be off to the races finally. I'm not saying it's to its all time right now, but I'm saying this is a good sign for gold. And it's been doing its own thing the last week and a half. It's not really worried about what the dollar's doing. Today definitely helped with the dollar crashing. But gold looks like it's starting to run up here. We're going to look for gold to try to make a push up. But we've still got a lot of work to do in gold. A lot of work. We have a lot of work. I got so much shit here, but these are all the lines that are important right now. Got all the various uptrends. There's a lot of things that... This one, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. I think some of these pulled out here a little bit. But the 1680 was so important and it managed to hold it. As of right now, I'm not saying it's going to hold it for all time because we did sink well below it. But just the fact we could push back over this with some kind of bounce. Now we're going to look to hold this area and try to pull up. We need to pull up out of here now. But gold is finally, for the first time in a long time, gold is starting to look a little bit better here. A little bit better indeed. Silver, which I've been paying a lot more attention to silver. We can redo the gold chart as well. But silver, this is what we're looking at. Big time. We got to break out of here at 20. It's approximately 2386 and then ultimately over 2458. But we're within this ascending triangle pattern and it's gone all the way back to 2020. So this is what we're looking at. This is actually supposed to be up a little higher. See all my stuff? I know I talk about it a lot, but a lot of times on TradingView, when you go from chart to chart, and maybe it's because I have my tablet and it's touchscreen, maybe I hit it when I'm leaving the charts, but a lot of times stuff will be moved. Like this is clearly supposed to be a pattern where the second line of contact was used up here in September. Everything else looks good, but I don't know why that was pulled so far down. But you can see this, $18.71 was very, very critical. And then $16.29 was that middle relief if it was going to have a bounce down. It's held it pretty damn good right now, though. So this is a good interpretation of what's going on with silver. And then just to look at the gold mining stocks and silver, I just wanted to show you guys a few different things. It's already been 15 and a half minutes, but we covered a lot of good stuff with oil and petroleum that you need to understand. The gold, silver, now the gold silver chart real quick is back up. It's on the support line. So unless we break this, you could expect a nice reversal. But this looks like the gold silver is going to come down the ratio. I feel like we had a nice topping reversal here, and now it's time for it to come down. Would I prefer for it to go up? Hell yeah, I would, because I like buying my silver when the ratio is even higher. But right now it's still 80-1. So we'll see, but it looks like it needs to come down in the daily. It looks very bearish in the daily. So just pay attention to this as the days come on and move forward. B2 gold is up 8.08% to $3.55. As you know, I bought $1,100 worth at $2.90. Through my Cash App. Okay, so let's just take a look. I keep talking about it, so I might as well show you. But this is my B2 gold. It's at $1,339 is what I have in it now. But I put $1,100 I invested. It's up $239.66, or up 21%, 21.79%. So I bought it at $2.90, 379.5 shares. $3.53 is the current share price. I bought it at $2.90. It's up 21.79% as of right now. And then to go over some of the stuff, the reason why I like it: market cap $3.75 billion, revenue over the last 12 months $1.67 billion, revenue growth year over year minus 2.88%, gross profit 12 months $591.33 million, net profit $232.06 million. Today's volume 9.81 million, average volume 11.3 million. PE ratio is a little higher than I would like at 16.17. Price sales ratio 2.25%. Operating margin decent at 30.64%, and a healthy dividend at 5.15%. It's come down about 0.3% since it's gone up 20%, but that's typical. And then the other one that I talked about, or have been talking about, Petrolio. I have $1,000, as you can see, in my account waiting for Petrolio. And where are you at, Petrolio? Having a bad day today, which is what we're counting on. Petrolio, his numbers are fantastic. Market cap $41 billion. Revenue $118.24 billion over the last 12 months. Revenue growth 60.23% year over year. Gross profit 12 months $59.07 billion. Net profit 12 months $33.98 billion in net profits. Today's volume 34.83 million, average daily volume 46.69 million. One of the best PE ratios I've ever seen on a company with this kind of operating margin and actual revenue. The PE ratio is a healthy, fantastic, all enticing 1.21 is the PE ratio. That's extraordinary. Price sales ratio 0.35, operating margin 43.32%, and dividend yield at 48.05%. But don't expect to get a 4.8 per share. Expect more like the 2.55 to 3, like we got last dividend payment. So that is a healthy book. And over the last month, it's down 20%, 20.73%. So pay attention, because there's a lot of stuff going on here. Fortuna Silver Mines is crushing it, up 13.9% today. I don't have Fortuna right now because it doesn't pay a dividend and it's very volatile, but so is B2 Gold, so are the rest, but I like my dividends. So yeah, up 7.93% today in my commodities. So that feels pretty good, but I figure if I'm going to always talk about all this stuff to you guys, I better share it with you. And yeah, so that's what's going on. This is the B2 Gold chart. And B2 Gold has been getting hammered lately. And I don't know where the rest of my stuff is at on my B2 Gold chart, because it seems to have disappeared. But that's the uptrending support. But still, I don't even know what happened. Most of my chart's gone. No. So that's what's going on with B2 Gold. That's the easiest way to show you. We're trying to get over a resistance level way up here at $4.29. But honestly, when you look at it in the 1 week, is it ready to break out just yet? It seems like it could be just a tad early, but that doesn't mean that it can't build its way into the weekly. It looks like a bottom is starting to reverse here, though. Like we're starting to have a rounding of the bottom. But that, I'm not convinced, though, that we can not only knock it over 363, which I think we can, but I'm not convinced we can break the $4.21 barrier just yet. Let's see what happens if we can get up there. But right now, it looks like we're having a healthy reversal in the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. But it looks like we still are going to have to do our due diligence, but it's fantastic while this is going on. And I don't see any reason why we can't at least come up here and flirt with the $4 level. So, or the $4.12 level before we ultimately may get rejected. I'm going to have to finish out this pattern, but as of right now, it's a fantastic move by B2 Gold. Fortuna Silver Mines, as I said, was up 14%, so you can look into that as well. That's a fantastic one with the silver mines. I'm generally one that's in it, but I've been going a different route with my dividend-paying stocks this year. I love Fortuna, but just in a high-risk, high-reward environment, I went with my my dividend-paying stocks this year. So it's right up to my targeted estimation that we put out here, what, last week or the week before. But that was the top end where I thought maybe we could get rejected. We haven't quite got there yet, but we're looking at it right now. But we have come through a very critical support level, so it's one good thing to be seen. It's definitely one good thing to be seen for Fortuna. And then just going over some of the other ones. Barrick Gold's up 6.38%. You've got Kinross Gold up 4.25%, one of my favorite ones as well. But I had to choose between Kinross and B2 Gold, and B2 Gold had been getting beaten up far more. So I went with that. And I'm not going to complain over 21%. And then Platinum is up 5.43%, or $53.50 per pound. Per ounce, to $1,039 per ounce. And then you got copper up 2.57%, or 0.0947 per pound, or 3.767 per pound. Stay blessed, everybody, and hit that like button. I greatly appreciate everybody who stayed through. 222 if you stayed to the end.